Hello guys, Tom Yone here from Extra Tech. Welcome to my second HTML tutorial. In our previous tutorial, we learned about HTML elements. We discussed some basic fundamental HTML elements. Okay, in this tutorial, we're going to talk about HTML attributes. And beside, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button, and also leave your comment if you have questions and I will see to them. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about attributes. So what are attributes? Attributes provide additional information about HTML elements. Okay, so you use attributes to give extra information about an HTML element. And attribute they usually come in name and value pairs. That is like this. We have name, then there's an equal to sign, then with your apostrophe you have the value of the attribute. Okay, so now let's begin with the very first attribute, which is used to style our anchor hyperlink or anchor tag, the A tag or the A element, which is the href. We discussed it in our previous tutorial, but let's just throw more light on it. So let's have our A tag. Okay, now you write the attribute inside the opening tag. So href written like this equal to then our apostrophe, then you close it. The name of the tag, let's say this is a link, then don't forget to close your tag. All right, so in here we're going to put the link to either another page in our document, in our website, or to an external page. But we're going to use an external page in this example. So let's say we have https://www.google.com. Okay, so if we Control S to save this, go to run and launch in our browser, you can see the link here. If we click on the link, it takes us to Google page. Okay, so that's basically what the href attribute is used for. You can have external linking or internal linking. Okay, now, or we call it explicit and implicit declaration. Okay, so the next attribute we are going to talk about is the source attribute. The source attribute is used with the image tag. Okay, you remember the image tag, we discussed it in our previous lesson. The image tag is img. Okay, and it doesn't have a closing tag. The image tag just have opening tag but no closing tag. Okay, so the file name of the image source is specified in the source. So the source, the attribute is written as rc, then you put an equal to sign, don't forget your apostrophe, then you put the name of the image. Now I have an image that we're going to use, which is called structure. Okay, we have structure.pngs and png. Now, in previous versions of HTML, you use a / at the end of your angle bracket like that, but it's not required in HTML5. Okay, so what we need to do now is to Control S to save this and launch this in our browser. You can see the image occupy the whole screen. Okay, so how do we make this image the size we want it to be? That's what we're going to discuss about next, which is the width and the height attributes. So the HTML images also have a width and height attributes, which specifies the width and the height of the image. Okay, now let's look at an example here. Let's go back to our text editor, and inside that, this is our image element we actually specified. Let's give it the width elements, width equal to, then the value comes in and puts your apostrophe. You can specify, let's just give it 600, or we'll put a unit pixel. Okay, then the height, height, IGHT, then you are equal to sign, apostrophe, then let's specify height. Let's call it, let's give it 500 pixel. Now if you Control S to save this, then you go back to our web browser and refresh the page, you can see that the image is no longer occupying the whole screen. Now the image has reduced based on the value we gave for the height and the width. So this is actually on the x axis we have 600, and on the y axis, which is the height, we have 500. Okay, so now what if this image fails to load? How do we know that there was an image there? Or if someone visits your website and maybe probably the image is no longer in the location where it was and it fails to load, that is what we're going to talk about next, which is the ALT or alternative attribute. The alternative attribute specify an alternative text to be used if an image cannot be displayed. So if the image is not displayed, someone should be able to know that there was an image there. So the value of the alternative attribute can be read by the person that visits your website. Okay, and also it's good for people that have vision problem, those that cannot see very well. With that, if there's a program that is reading all the text on the screen, the person will know that, oh, this is an image. Okay, so how do we specify the auth attribute? So we go back to our text editor, and inside the tag, the opening tag, we just write ALT and give it a name. Okay, so we just say this is a structure image. Okay, so if we Control S to save this and go back to our web browser and refresh, of course it will not show if the image is displaying. So but then let's go back to our text editor and alter the name of this image so that the image will refuse to show, to be displayed. So if we Control S to save it and go back to our web browser, if we refresh our page, you can see that the image is no longer displaying, but then there is a name just immediately after the where the image was supposed to be, that is showing that, oh, this was supposed to be an image. This is a structure. So someone that have vision problem will be able to know that there was an image that was supposed to be there, or this is actually an image because the person is not seeing. Okay, so the next attribute we are going to talk about is the style attribute. The style attribute can actually be used to specify to style any HTML element. Okay, give it styles like color for your paragraph and heading tags, like the font size of your paragraph and heading tags, like the font family and all that. So the style attributes is used mostly in our CSS by the time we come to CSS. Okay, so but in this brief introduction to attributes, let's see example of our style attribute. So let's go back to our text editor and we'll just write a paragraph text. Okay, p tag, and we'll close it. Don't forget to close your p tag, and let's just give it, let's just put some dummy text in there. Let's say this is a paragraph that is tied with the style attribute. Okay, so now the attribute comes in the opening tag, so we just put style like this and equal to, now you see me, I'm always putting space in between the attribute and the value. Okay, it doesn't really matter, you can remove the space, then you put your apostrophe, then we say, now the style attribute have what we call the property and the value. Okay, so now the color, which is the property, and beside a quick one, HTML uses American English, so this is not a British English where you have CU. If you put COLORU, you will not get any result. Okay, so we have COLOR. So after that, to specify the property, the value, after the the property, you put a colon, then you specify the value. Let's give this red, and or if it is in our style sheet, you put a semicolon. Okay, so Control S to save this. Let's hop back to our browser and refresh. You can see that this paragraph text has been styled red. You can see the red there. Okay, so that's how you specify or you style your paragraph. All right, so we'll be seeing a lot of these in our tutorial as we progress. We'll see a lot of attributes, styling, and all that. So the next attribute we're going to talk about is the lang or the language attributes. The language of the document can be declared in the HTML. Okay, so we put the language attribute in our HTML tag. Remember the HTML tag that comes immediately after our doctype tag. That is, if you go back to our, let's just go back to our text editor, you see this HTML tag. That's where you specify your language, the language of your website. Okay, so and the language attributes is abbreviated LANG. Okay, so you put an equal to sign, apostrophe, and you specify the language. If it's English general, you just put EN, but if you want to be specific, you can put UX for UX English. Okay, so this is how you specify the language of your website. Now the next attribute we're going to talk about is the title attribute. You know, if you visit some website, you see sometimes when you hover over a particular element, you see something like a tooltip telling you this is what this element stands for, or a definition of the word in that element. That's exactly what the title attribute does. Okay, the title attribute gives additional information or tooltip about the elements whenever you hover over it, whenever your mouse is placed on top of it. So how do you specify it? Let me just demonstrate. Let's go to our browser. For instance, if I place my mouse on top of this paragraph text, you can see nothing is being shown. But by the time we add our title attribute to this paragraph text, whenever our mouse is placed or hover over it, a tooltip will pop up. All right, so let's go back to our text editor and add our tooltip. So in the opponent tag, the paragraph tag, we just type title like this. This is different from the title that is declared in our head section. So equal to apostrophe close, and put whatsoever text you want to be displayed whenever a mouse is over the element. Let's say this is an example of a tooltip. Okay, so Control S to save. Let's go back to the browser and refresh. You see, whenever the mouse is placed on the paragraph, you can see this is an example of a tooltip. So it's very, very important. You cannot actually add a title to all the elements in your website. But there are specific elements you would like to use this for a good reason. Okay, so it's very, very handy. Okay, so far so good. We have discussed about HTML elements and their attributes. We've talked about the title attributes, which provide additional information or tooltip about elements. We've also talked about our href attribute, which provides address information for links. Okay, we talked about the width and the height attributes that provide size information for images, and we talked about the auth or alternative attributes that provide text. Okay, that provide text for screen readers, those who have issues with their sites. All right, so that will be all for this tutorial, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.